So
that was pretty funny sitting in the courtroom with all that. And sometimes you'll feel totally humiliated because you think everybody thinks that what they've said is true, and just fight through that. Just sit through it and just know, that you know the truth. That you know the truth for yourself, and it doesn't matter what they think or what they say.
Their main goal is to get you angry. They want you angry.
They want to validate everything they've said about you.
That's right. And they've done this thousands and hundreds of thousands of times. There's 14,000 in this province. There's 10,000 in the next province. 10,000 in the next province. So just in the last few years, they've gone through hundreds of thousands of cases, and they have statistics about how to manipulate you.
And the thing is that they can override almost any law, or you'll think.
Oh yeah, this is a great one. They have a law. They have
Section 66, subsection 2, says something like any deviation from procedural rights will not result in the order being set aside. So basically, if anything, if the ministry did do something wrong, technically speaking, it still gets overridden. And if, what was I going to say? If no matter what regulation that you're saying, well, you can't do that because this regulation says blah, 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 for any regulation, if they want disclosure for something, or they want to disclose something about you to your boss or whatever, all they have to say is that it was for the safety of the child.
That's right.
And, they get away with it.
Yeah.
So all your rights can be violated for the safety of your child. And yes, there are scenarios out there where children are living at risk, but that's not all of us. A lot of the people that we have talked to in the last 4.5 years are normal, everyday moms and dads that, are not perfect. Just like my parents were not perfect. Pretty close, but not perfect.
We went to a lecture just recently in the University of Victoria, and what's her name? Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafond?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so...
The new representative for children and youth in BC, but she doesn't meet with the public.
Yeah.
So I don't know how she is to be the voice of the children if she doesn't know the real stories that are going on.
Yeah, so anyways, we sat through her lecture, which was basically a PR for the Ministry of Children and Families.
What's a PR?
Promotion for them, promotional. Damage control, because they've had a lot of children die in their care in the last little while, so she, went in to try to smooth things over and make sure everybody realizes that she's there to change everything.
You don't actually know that.
Well, come on.
But I don't like us sounding like this.
Yes, okay, but...
it sounds like we're so against them. It's not that we're against them.
It's just that we don't like the fact that children are dying in their goddamn care.
Yeah, well, if they went by the rules and regulations, a lot less children would be dying. If they didn't take away children because there was peanut butter on their shirt when they showed up to daycare, there'd be a lot less...
So, anyways, at the end of this lecture, she was taking questions, and I had the opportunity of asking the last question. And my question was, because I work in the construction industry and have so for quite some time, if in my industry I'm the cause of a death or an injury, and I work for certain companies, they'll ask me to take a drug or alcohol test, and in the absence of drug or alcohol, they'll look at the procedures that I took, and if I'm to blame for that accident or death, I'm fired,
Or there's a penalty to pay.
Or there's a penalty to pay.
In the medical profession too, if you make an error and give a patient the wrong med, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
You got to fix it, and you're held responsible.
Yeah, by the
like
Board of Nursing
service.
or whatever.
Yeah, the Ministry of Children and Families is a public service, providing a service for us that we pay for with our tax dollars.
So at the end of the question I was putting forward to her, 700 plus children. No, 700 children died in their care in the last 7 years, or no? It was,
I don't know about last. 98 children in the last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In their care or had recently been in their care. 98 children died last year.
Yeah. But anyways, I said in the recent light of all the children that have died in the last 7 years, or 10 years for that matter, what do you think about, you know, doing drug and alcohol tests? And
Why aren't the social workers
is
held responsible
accountable,
is what he actually said.
Or the foster parents as well. And she said, we're not here to place blame. You know, well,
and she
we
said
would
that
like you
all
to.
social workers love children dearly.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? They said that about the priests and the nuns too, you know, in the residential schools. They all love children very dearly, you know, but look, 25 years later.
And everybody must have thought at the time that what
The priests and the nuns were doing was, you know,
was fine, was
fine.
good. Just like in the 50s when foster children were actually apprentices, you know, 12-year-olds that had to work for their stay. People must have thought that was right at the time too, or why would the government have done it?
Yeah, and there they,
But
most
it's
of
just
them
as
were.
wrong as having 10,000 children in foster homes, you know, teenagers in group homes, and these teenagers are ending up in youth court.
They spend more money housing your children than they actually do, you know, providing services for them.
We have a young girl that comes to the group. She's 16 years old, in the care of the Ministry of Children and Families. They give her $3.25 for rent. She lives in the seediest end of town. She gets knocks on her door in the middle of the night from people who want, you know, to trade sex for money. Her landlord is always harassing her that she can trade sex for money.
This is a little girl that's in the care of the ministry.
People are trying to give her drugs and get her to do drugs with them, and you know, she's terrified of where she lives, but it's all she can afford. And I'm just wondering, you know, is British Columbia that poor that our foster 16-year-old child needs to live in an area where she's not going to grow up being anything but what's around her? What else is she going to learn? She doesn't go to school, she doesn't work, and that's what she sees on a daily basis. That's how people survive.